And we're off. Welcome to the match reaction here on Latte Firm. Arsenal are off to winning ways, a winning start to the new season of Premier League football, thanks to Riccardo Calafiori nodding home to give us the win over Manchester United. But it's not been pretty. The last 24 hours of media coverage, rival fans been laying into Arsenal. Not pretty, but effective. It's an ugly win, as I like to describe it. And it's a win nonetheless. So we're going to talk about the performance, talk about the key talking points, talk about Victor Gyökeres and Zubimendi and our defensive warriors. And I'm delighted to be joined by Woz. Welcome to the firm, my friend. We're off.
Good evening,
How are
mate.
you?
How are we doing? Yeah, we're off. We're certainly up and running, mate. And as I said, we would have all liked a nice little promoted team at home for an easy 3-0, wouldn't we? But we had to go Old Trafford and we had to do the business, mate. But yeah, we're up and running. We're off 3 points on the board, and I'm sure we're going to get into it.
We will indeed. And I had to wear, obviously, the classic shirt because it
Of
is
course.
Manchester United at Old Trafford, like you say. How was your journey home? I got in just past 2 a.m. this morning, up early for work. I mean, you wonder why we do it sometimes, but it's all totally worth it, isn't it?
It is all totally worth it. And honestly, to be fair, the journey up there was horrendous. It just felt like it was taking forever. Them trains are never nice. It was absolutely packed to the rafters. People stood up through the whole carriages. But that's what you do, that's the football. We was all buzzing to be back, and there certainly would have been a lot of tired and a lot of painful people at work today, let's just say, because it was a good day out, good away end, and we got the result. But yeah, we're back. We're back doing what we love doing the most, mate. So we can't grumble.
We love it indeed, mate. And we're going to talk all about it. Welcome to all the channel members. Welcome to all the Patreon chat. And of course, those of you that tune in on the regular, really appreciate it. Keep the chat active, keep the chat busy. I will come to as many of you guys as possible. As Vivlad says, good evening, guys. I'll take 3 points at Old Trafford every day of the week. We weren't great, but we were already better and +2 better off than last season. Come on, you guys. That is an excellent point to start with. 14 draws last season was in the Premier League. And for me, this is about trying to convert as many of those into wins so that we rack up more points at the end of the season. And sometimes you just got to win ugly. Like, Arsenal have played so well at Old Trafford in recent years and got battered for it. So to come
Hmm.
away with a sort of, grinding out performance and getting the 3 points is really important. But look, let's tuck into the slides as we normally do and start with the lineups. So it was going to be really interesting to see what Ruben Amorim was going to do. This graphic courtesy of the Premier League. I think we're going to go with this sort of style from now on. We had Alice Talks Footy, a big Manchester United fan, on Sunday morning doing the preview, and she pretty much nailed their lineup with 3 at the back, the 2 wide wing backs. Diallo coming on in the second half. I thought, maybe could have started, should have started, maybe would have caused us a bit more trouble. And then she predicted that Šeško would be on the bench. For us, the new boy started up top. Victor Gyökeres didn't get a very good reception from, of course, the United faithful because he rejected them. But David Raya in goal. We had obviously the back four there: Calafiori left back, Magalhaes and Saliba, with Ben White starting at right back over Timber, Ødegaard, Zubimendi, and Declan Rice in the middle, and then of course up front Martinelli and Saka either side of Victor Gyökeres. When the lineup was announced, mate, how did you feel?
Yeah, positive. How can you not be positive? Look, to be fair, mate, they could have said that you were starting up front and I've been buzzing for getting back. But no, genuinely though, it's a strong team, isn't it? And there's a couple of unknowns in there, like we discussed previously. How's Zubimendi going to deal with wide open spaces in transition? How's Gyökeres going to stand up to the rough and tumble and physicality of the Premier League? Baptism of fire. It's good to see all the regulars back, and we all know that we were a million miles away from being all guns blazing and firing, but we were solid, we were compact. We did limit them to really few good chances. And to be honest with you, looking at the lineup, yeah, you can't not be happy with that. And the key thing is we just had a little chat about it, the bench, the strength in depth, the players that were not even involved in the squad. Finally, it's so refreshing to see because we had so many occasions last season when we were threadbare and you were just thinking desperately we need to do something to get out of this game. So, and also, it's not just, we haven't just got attacking options, we've got defensive options and midfield options. So, there's a plethora of players for Arteta to choose from this year, and it'll be exciting to see how he does go through the season. But I was well happy with that lineup, and it's exciting to see, mate.
Indeed, it is. I mean, in terms of the lineup, by the way, a few of you have pointed out that YouTube are having some issues with live streams today. My apologies if any of that sort of comes across with you guys, but do stay and see if you can enjoy the show. The subs bench was really interesting. Look, Kepa, obviously an established goalkeeper, being our backup. We had Miles Lewis-Skelly on the bench, dropping down, obviously. Christian Mosquera, our new sort of centre-back. Timber, obviously, on the bench as well, with Havertz, Madueke as two attacking options. Ethan Wanyeri, Leo Trossard. I mean, all of a sudden, like you say, threadbare at the back end of last season. There were times when we were looking over to our bench, that PSG game in particular, we had a couple of goalkeepers, 2 or 3 left backs, a couple of youth products, and a Raheem Sterling, for example. It's a bit of exaggeration there, but you get my point to kind of tell the
Mm.
story. It is really good to have to go into this fixture this season with a strong bench. And listen, I can't personally complain with that lineup. The only debate I was having was, does Jurien Timber start right back? Does maybe Miles Lewis-Skelly start left back? But overall, really, really pleased.
Yeah, very, very pleased. It's interesting about the fullbacks actually, because I know last time we sort of discussed that they can, between the four of them, we've kind of got every single type of fullback, and it was interesting that he went with them two against the wing backs. It essentially we didn't go with the out and out defensive options. Because we did discuss that maybe Timber could have started left back to be solid, and it's almost like he went, you know what, we're gonna face this system and stand up to it and see how we get on. But to have someone like Julian Timber and people like that available off the bench, I mean, as soon as you come on, you're just like, yeah, we're sweet. Don't worry about it, mate. This kid has got it. So, yeah, good. Interesting, mate. Very interesting.
It was indeed. Well, look, it was an ugly win. We're going to talk more about that in a second. But here are the stats, courtesy of Canon Stats, as you guys normally know on socials. There you can see on screen there. Sorry for the eye test. But of course, 1-0 to the Arsenal, which is fantastic. Manchester United actually dominated, and I got to be honest, it did feel like that way. I thought they
Mm.
created more chances. They bossed possession. You can see the stats: 22 shots on goal compared to our 9, 7 on target compared to our 3. 15 shots they had from open play, but a number of them obviously just sort of, squirming their way to David Raya. Bossed possession as you would expect at home, particularly once you go 1-0 down. They won the field tilt. Final third entry is almost double of ours. It's not a normal sort of situation that you find these stats not on our side. What do you make of that? What do you make of the overall performance from both, I guess, United and us?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't think much of United, to be fair. It
You
was
never
total
do.
dominant. No, but on it, genuinely though, it was. I wasn't watching a side there that I thought, do you know what, they're going to be causing a lot of teams problems. I looked at a side there that I thought, do you know what, if anyone turns up here, they're going to get a hiding because they were very open in transition. I know we're going to go on and talk about that. We just did not play well, and that was the long and short of it. But the reality is, first game of the season, you're going up to Old Trafford. We know our history there. We know everything that comes with that fixture. We know it's not easy, and as you said, it's a very ugly win by one of the most beautiful men who has ever played for this club, scoring the goal. But yeah, I mean, obviously, statistically, it really doesn't look great. But I genuinely in the stadium, I don't know about you, but I just didn't really feel that under threat. Like they were up for it, but I just didn't think they were dangerous enough. I thought obviously there was one fantastic save from Raya down low, unbelievable save. But other than that, realistically, like you said, it was nothing of real. We weren't carved open. They weren't getting through us at will. I just felt we were not doing what we had to do to be in control of the game. Sloppy touches, poor passes. I mean, everything. Our pass completion rate was down. People were overrunning the ball. We were ignoring the right runs and playing the balls at the wrong time. It was just everything like that. But what we did do is show grit, determination, strength, and bollocks. And to be honest with you, it's something that we get not enough credit for in situations like that. And I get frustrations. We didn't play well, but we done what we had to do at this stage of the season to get in and get out. And 3 points, start with a clean sheet, fantastic.
Absolutely right. Again, apologies for those of you that are tuning in and wondering what this lag is for. There is an issue across live streams on YouTube. Hopefully, it will sort of fix itself. And those of you that are watching and that it is a clean sort of connection, stay with us. Ricky Calafiori, of course, scored the goal. Set piece FC we've become. We saw this in pre-season was with the sort of roamers, if you like, outside the box, charging into the penalty area to try and cause as much confusion to the opposition defenders as possible. And it worked out. And of course, there's been a lot made of Saliba putting pressure on their keeper. But it was Ricky Calafiori at the back post who couldn't have missed. I mean, he was practically on the goal line. What did you make of this?
Yeah, well, like you said, I did joke about you playing up front earlier, but even you would have nodded that in, mate. So no, but yeah, I mean, it's interesting actually because they've come out stating about the new holding rules. They're going to punish players more. I mean, we saw there already. They're not going to punish people. Like it's already not happening until they pick and choose a moment they want to do it. But it's interesting that we are more standoffish and running onto the ball. It's almost like you're trying not to initiate contact until the right moment. And obviously, Saliba's positioning in there was the only body that was, and the rest are all runners, and the defenders are then forced to engage, if that makes sense. If you're stood side by side and we're set and ready to go, it's not the same. So when you're running onto the ball, I feel like you're forcing the opposition defenders to make a decision. And you try and stop Gabriel Magalhaes at full speed. You try and stop these people. The only way by doing it is by becoming physical. And if they're going to clamp down on it, you're going to see a hell of a lot of penalties. I just don't think they can. I just don't think you can take that out of the game. I feel like, yes, it is dark arts, but it has to happen. You have to gain an advantage. You have to block runners. You have to be strong. You have to stop people running onto the ball and headering it. So I feel like it's a very clever tactic. Obviously, it might well be a thought process, because I do genuinely believe that if you've got someone running at you, you have to stop them, because you're not marking them, you're not going man for man, you're not running, and they've got the jump on you, and you've got to physically do something. So, and if they do, if they clamp down on the rules, we're going to see penalties. We are going to see penalties. But yeah, I mean, obviously, terrible goalkeeping, great strength from Saliba, and ultimately Calafiori, right place, right time, nodded it in. But it's one of them. Obviously, the goal goes in, and you straight away in your way, and you think they're going to disallow this, don't you? It was almost you just got it in your head, and I was almost shocked to see, they're just continuing with the game. I thought they're going to find something, but they didn't. So happy days. But it's weird. They come out with all this talk about, holding, and we're going to do this, going to do that, and clearly they're not. It's just it's very weird. And I think VAR has given the opportunity to ref games and manage them how they want to manage them. That's it's not great.
Yeah, I mean, look, we'll talk about VAR stuff maybe on a longer show another time. But like, I was a bit nervous. I thought the ref gave a
Mm,
lot of flex, let's say, with Manchester United, and was very, very harsh on a number of fouls that we'd made, or alleged fouls. I got to say, and I haven't seen the televised sort of coverage back, but in the stadium, once we'd sort of wheeled away to celebrate, the United fans immediately surrounded the referee, and I thought, okay, it's going to be a VAR thing here, because the keeper did look to go down, and obviously we're at the opposite end of the pitch, you and I. So
yeah,
at that time, I thought, okay, they're going to call it back. And of course, there's no flipping screens at Old Trafford. It's such a shite stadium that we couldn't see anything, couldn't hear anything. And then, of course, the ref just pointed to the centre circle. Off we were again
that's
celebrating.
it.
So I got to say, on the corner set thing, Nico Yova is obviously earning his corner here, because he's revolutionising the way that we sort of line up. There are other clubs now copying us. They're sort of numbering up at the back post or beyond the back post, charging in. We see Liverpool do it and other clubs do it. But now this, the Romas on the outside of the box, attacking those sort of spaces in the penalty area to make it really unpredictable for the opposition. And,
Mm,
it kind of just goes to show since the start of the 23-24 season, we've scored 31 goals from corners, right? The next team that comes close is Liverpool with 20. And Manchester United are actually top of the league for goals conceded from corners. So I'm not surprised to see the effectiveness of set piece FC. So to get the goal, it's fantastic. I don't care how we score. I don't care who scores the goal, but it was the goal that we needed. Now at 1-0, Arsenal have in the recent past, been accused of sort of taking the foot off the gas and sort of going slow. And it felt like we were doing that. It was a really weird game. Like, I don't know about you, just going sort of off piste. The ball just doesn't move fast at Old Trafford. I don't know what it is. Well, it's like, the pitch is exactly the same dimension as the Emirates, but we ping that ball about the Emirates up high, left, right, one touch, beautiful. But at Old Trafford, it's like we're playing with a bowling ball. Like, I can't describe. I turned to the
yeah,
people that I was with and I said, the ball was just, when you're at school and the ball was like over pumped and you just couldn't control it, and it would
yeah.
just ricochet. Like, it was just the weirdest. I don't know if it was just me. Like, it felt like we just couldn't get into any sort of fluidity, and likewise with United, to be fair.
Yeah, I mean, it was just a poor game of football, to be honest with you. But uh, as I said, we can go on, and you made a good point about us taking our foot off the gas, and I think you can have a pop at Arteta regarding that, because we have seen it far too often in the past, And I mean, last season we dropped 21 points from winning positions. We finished 10 points off top of the league. We dropped 21 points from winning positions. It's just not acceptable. So to go out there and start a new season dropping 2 points from a winning position, you just could not do that. And I feel like there was a bit of it's mental thing. It's a very mental aspect. I know last season we had injuries and stuff to deal with, but you cannot be dropping 21 points from winning positions and expect to be competing for the title, and to still finish second after doing something like that. I just think mentally that was a real big result Um, Although they're rubbish and they were 16th, and and they're going through transition and blah de blah de blah, it is still Old Trafford. And I know that sounds stupid to talk about it like that, because ultimately lesser teams will go there, and as I said, they'll give them a pasting this season. I really do think it'll happen. They're still going through it. We had that same. That same period of time, teams like Watford absolutely battering us under Emery, and we've seen it, and I think United are going through that stage now. So we would like to have been confident. In an ideal world, Zumbamendi absolutely bosses the game. We're so good in transition. All the passes are correct, and we win that game 4-5-0, and we create loads of chances. But it just wasn't that way. And what we did need to do is batten down the hatches, get stuck in, get bodies in front of the ball, work hard and work through it, and not drop them points. It was just so vital that once we had the lead and we scored very early, we just can't let that go. So yeah, you've got to take the positive, I think.
Yeah, mate, you have to. How can you not? I mean, it's Old Trafford. There's always been needle between these two teams, and like Ragamuffin says, and I think you've just been alluding to it. Like Arsenal, for some reason, I don't want to say we freeze, but like we've played better and got pumped. And
Mm.
the last 6 or 7 victories that we've had at Old Trafford, all weirdly just 1-0 wins, going back to 1998. So there's something there. And he says, look, well, we played the occasion, not the game. And this was the biggest talk in the car driving up to my friends. I was just saying to them, like, I just hope that 2 things: we take the ref out of the game, so there's nothing that they have to make, no decisions, no referrals to VAR. I think we just about sort of got away with it. There was that late Saliba sort of clash with Cunha, which I'm sure wasn't a pen, but on another day, you just know how the refs work against us. And the second thing was, don't play the occasion, don't play the fixture. Just
Mm.
play the team that's in front of you, and they are a trash team who had an abysmal season, and they've gone out and tried to, plaster over a broken leg by just buying 3 shiny new attacking players up top. They've lost, I think, 15 in 28 games under Ruben Amorim, 27 points in 28 games, which is diabolical. So just go
Mm.
and turn up and play your football. And for some reason, we could just never get it going. And that's just the way that it is. That's a really great point there, Ragamuffin. What a lovely name. There's the attacking threat chart, and this is courtesy of Opta. You guys have seen this all before, so it kind of shows the attacking threat as the game goes on. Again, no real surprise. We got the goal, that we were more threatening during that period, but I've got to say, Manchester United, as the game went on, they chased and they tried to sort of knock on the door, and they probably had the better of the stats, as we saw, and the better goal scoring opportunities.
Yeah, they absolutely did. But again, like I alluded to, it just weren't a game where we got our rhythm. And I, I would look at the positive. I mean, everyone's seen the compilations going around of the position. We're going to talk about it in a sec, the transition. But ultimately, none of the stats are pretty on that game. It wasn't a great watch on the eye, but we can't express enough how important it is to get out of there. And I'll get that people will be saying, "Oh, 6th, 7th season with Arteta, we should be better than this. We spent all this money. We should be able to go there and dominate." Yeah, I understand that, but it's game one of a 38 game league, 8 game season. You do not worry about that. If you can go to Old Trafford and come away with 3 points, happy days. There are going to be performances this season where we're going to blow teams away and we're going to go, wow, that all clicked. And ironically, it's going to be very rare that there'll be many games that we get the opportunity to be so wasteful in transition, because United are so open, and they were where they were dominating possession and playing higher. We did have opportunities, we just never took them. But there's going to be very few games this season where we'll be playing it in that manner, and we will have to be more clinical when we get the 1 or 2 chances. But it's just, I wouldn't be too concerned and read too much into absolutely anything other than the 3 points. If I'm being brutally honest about the game.
Mate, give me 38 of those yesterday. It's not going to be fun, but I'll take it all day long. Tyler says, I've seen us play United off the park at Old Trafford and at home, to be fair, and get battered 3-1. He
Yeah.
says, we usually play awful there, so gladly take the 3 points and just think nothing of the performance. And look, the other way to look at it, I mentioned it at the start of the show, 14 draws in the league last year, of which this fixture was one. The aim is to maintain what we've done in the other wins, to not lose as many as we lost last year, but to try and convert as many of those draws into wins. And we've done that already. First fixture. And it's a fixture where, we know Manchester United, they rise to the occasion in the big games. They always, it's despite how terrible they are, they're capable of taking points off Liverpool. They're capable of taking points off Manchester City, and they are going to get better, you would think, throughout the season. So they're probably going to take points off 1 or 2 other teams as well. So look, we it's not pretty. It's effective. It's an ugly win, but it's a win nonetheless. Let's talk about our defensive resilience. Lots of people in the chat talking about our attackers. I will get Waz's thoughts on Saka and Martinelli and Madueke, don't worry. But grinding out the result, two things I want to focus on here was, first of all, I mean, Gabriel Magalhaes, what an incredible player.
Oh, mate.
I mean, well, just go. Mike's yours.
I mean, obviously, for years we've been on here now, and we spoke in depth previously about the two of them and the pairing and what they could become. And they are a pairing. And you look down the years, Bold Adams, you look at the comparisons, Torrey Campbell, all the successful sides we've had have had an unbelievable partnership. And it's not just about being good players, it's about knowing where you are, where you're going to be. And if the ball goes in behind Saliba, Gabriel's there, mate. And if the ball goes in behind Gabriel, Saliba's there. So them two together, we know that they have got the absolute lot. But Magalhaes, honestly, he took a bit of stick initially, and he maybe come across a little bit rash, a little bit clumsy. But my word, he's refined his game. He is so good at everything he does. And one of my favourite things, genuinely, was Sesko coming on, and straight away, his first action, he didn't care if he had to smash him in the back to foul him, but he just so happened he one header, but one massive header straight away, and you think, yeah, mate, this is what it's all about. And he's just they throw their body in front of the ball. They're so quick. They're very good on the ball as well in possession. They can cover the near post so well. They get across. They win headers. They are two elite modern centre backs, and genuinely as good as it gets, and I'll be devastated if them two don't go on to achieve things together at this club. Because honestly, the names I mentioned there and the partnerships that they had, this is up there. And now I feel like we've got a defensive network around them that will allow them to achieve that. And just, I mean, a big part of these two. I don't know if you saw the thing, 53 away games that we've been in the lead at half time, we've only lost once. That
It's
is
insane.
incredible. That is incredible. That is really, 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 really strong. And them two are a big part of that. And they're just warriors. And the best thing about them, you can describe them as warriors, but they've got that finesse, they've got that touch, they've got that calmness, that composure. But if you want to fight, we'll fight you, mate. Like I've said it before, if you want to run channels, I'll run with you. If you want to go 50-50 and you want to back into me, I'm going to fight you. If you want to go in the air, I'll beat you in the air. So they can do the lot, mate. But keep them both fit. You and I both know that we are going to be a seriously tough team to score against this season.
Do you know, I love it when you start going on your little sort of passionate rants of players. It just honestly the non-invisible the non-visible hairs on my heads are all upstanding. Saliba had a shaky sort of 10-15 minute period in that first half. I don't know if you sort of caught that. It felt like he was a little bit sort of still in the dressing room, sort of trying to focus his mind. I don't know if it was the occasion or the sun, the weather. I don't know, but like he just didn't look right. But he grew into the game, and of course was imperious towards the end. What
Yeah.
did you make of that? Were you nervous?
Do you know what? I never really get too nervous with Saliba. It's such a shock when something strange you instantly notice that there's something wrong with him. But when you say there's something wrong with him, he's still better than 95% of the rest of the league. And I mean, statistically, he stood out head and shoulders above the rest when you look at tackles won, like you said, I think he grew into the game and he got more in touch with it. But where he started slow, Magalhaes pulled him straight through that, and that's what I'm saying about a partnership, because you can see them straight away. You see them there at the end, the photo of them. They love it. Like they absolutely love. They thrive off of the clean sheets. They love being together. They love playing football together, and they're just two sensational players. So very happy. I mean, the comments, they're saying he was poor. I wouldn't suggest he was poor. I think he started a little bit slow, but when you look at the numbers, he actually had a very but his contributions in the game were very high, and he done a lot that probably went unnoticed. Like we're talking about that possible penalty with Cunha, but
Mm.
Cunha initiated the contact, but the body was there. He stopped the flick. He stopped the shot going towards goal. There were a lot of moments like that. Crosses coming in, he's there heading it away. Very strong. So honestly, if we've got any issues, it certainly is in our defensive shape, structure, and ability to defend. Because despite being under the cosh for most of the game, as I said earlier, I don't feel like, other than the one save low down from Raya, that really we were opened up at all. And I just feel comfortable, confident, calm, and composed. And when you've got them options at fullback around us, you know, four fantastic fullbacks, we can't worry about the defence. That's not where we are struggling, and I know we're going to go on to where we might be slightly struggling at the moment.
Indeed, we'll talk about Victor Gyökeres and our sort of work to do in transition. Just a couple of random messages. Colleen, welcome to the show, says, I'm not overly worried about the performance. Game week 1 at Old Trafford. Many players not fully fit. That's a really important point. If it were to continue, then obviously we can worry. But 3 points now. Let's start to get some rhythm and some fitness back in the legs versus Leeds on Saturday. And shout out to Callum. This is funny. Met you both yesterday. I was the guy next to your right. Ha ha ha. Pleasure meeting you both. Up the Gunners. And Cal, thank you so much for saying hello and your kind words.
Top man. Lovely
Walking
bloke
away
he
from
was.
Old Trafford. Yeah, indeed. Thank you, Callum. Really appreciate that. Before we talk about our sort of offensive side of the game, this is interesting. Again, courtesy of Optra Analyst, we committed 19 fouls in yesterday's game. That is the third highest number of fouls that we have committed under Mikel Arteta. I think it was quite deliberate, especially when you look at the volume of fouls that we made in the centre of the park to try and, I guess, stifle United or not give them the momentum. There were a couple of moments in the game where one or two of our players sort of went down, stayed down, really to kind of slow things down. Does this surprise you? Were you aware of this?
Nah, I could see it. But also, what I would say, of them 19 fouls, probably only about 12 of them were actually fouls. And I think the ref was absolutely. It's not, it's
He
not
was
something to
bad.
go on about, but he was bad. Honestly, he's such a poor referee, Simon Hooper, and he just has no control of any game state. And his face, he looks confused. He just looks confused at all times. And I mean, honestly, but you're correct there. Look at the areas of foul that are being committed. There's never a problem with committing fouls there. And there are a few occasions where it's hard. I mean, we've got quite a lot, some of the booking and things like that. And you just think, come on, mate, it's insane. And there's no consistency there. But I think it might have been a ploy. And I do think it's not a bad thing. And it was interesting, like I was saying to you, when we see Zubimendi in open spaces and we're in transitions and we've got to break up play. We have to break up play, and that there is a testament to doing that. And some of the best sides in the world have all been known for doing that. Man City went years for being the absolute experts at doing that. People like Rodri is just unbelievable, and you have to do it. It's one of them things we're talking about, the holding on set pieces, and it is a part of the game that is nitty gritty. But the successful sides, the physical sides, the big sides, the sides you don't want to play against, they stop you in transition. And sometimes you got to do it. And with players like Calafiori, Ben White, when you looked at them, that's what they love doing. They love it. The centre backs will get tight and they don't mind committing the odd foul to let you know they're there. Zubimendi's very intelligent with it. He makes fouls. Declan Rice, big strong geezer. Kai Havertz, Odegaard presses, commits fouls. They all do it, and you have to do it. So yeah,
I want to see more of this. This is the dark arts that we talk about. 19 fouls and just 4 yellow cards, and 2 of them for time wasting yesterday. So the rotational fouling, I think, is what we used to sort of see. Newcastle were unbelievable at it. Do you remember that one game that was 0-0 at the Emirates? And it was, still to this day, that kind of just, I find it galling, right? But City, like you say, the mastery of this is when you sort of, do the little shirt pulls and the little trips and the little comings together with full intention to stop the opposition from moving the ball up the field. And the best is just not even getting told off by the ref. Like, it's just wasn't me. No
walk
contact,
away. Yeah,
just
act
innocent.
silly.
Yeah, it
But
is.
mate,
Go on.
I was just going to say the very, very big games, the very, very big games are where that counts so much. When you play against teams like PSG and Real Madrid, you have to be physical. You have to let them know, come on, boys, like you're not in for like we are unbelievable footballing side, but I'm telling you what, we're going to go toe to toe with you today, and you are not getting past us. And if you do, you're on a deck, mate. And I think them big games, when you go to Anfield, you got to be the same. You have to be physical. You have to. But then that's where you rely on the referee to not be stupid and not let the occasion overrule them, and then you need to get away with it. And that's why it is a dark art, because you have to toe the line. You have to.
Indeed. By the way, hundreds of you have tuned into tonight's show. If you're enjoying the content, please do drop a like on the video. Subscribe, of course, if you're new. Completely appreciate there are some streaming issues with YouTube, apparently in Europe because of the servers. Do come back and watch later. Please don't let that sort of interrupt your enjoyment. Last thing on defenders, you mentioned we had 4 fullbacks. Vlad says, can I just say, Timber is so good for games like this. Makes me feel very safe. Yeah, I tweeted something like that's exactly how I described it yesterday. I was in the car and I was chatting to the boys and I said, you know what? This is going to sound really weird, but Jurriën Timber just makes me feel safe. That is the only way I can describe it. I love him so much. He was my player of the season last year, just given everything that he's went through, and his just ever presence, and he's just I love him. I absolutely adore him. And it's not just him. You know, we've got Ben White, who's fantastic. We know what he's capable of when he's back to his best. Ricky Calafiori, if he stays fit, this kid he's got the lot. And Miles Lewis Skelly, you know, breakout season last year. I think there's a lot of pressure on him. I think the refs are just keeping an eye on him. He gets cheap yellow cards, but
Mhm.
that four as a collection, I mean, wow.
Yeah, it is well. It really is well. And then when you had in the physicality of the two centre backs, and then you've got Mosquera there waiting to come on and absolutely batter you. So yeah, we're all right defensively, mate. Honestly, and big shout out to David Raya, by the way. You know, didn't switch off at all. Fantastic, couple of great saves. And I'm a big fan of Dave Raya. He didn't have his best game on the ball, which sounds stupid for a keeper, but normally he's so important to the way we can break lines and progress and get out. But it's just we're in a good situation defensively, and winning games like that and not dropping the points, like I alluded to earlier. You can't lose 21 points and expect to win the title. So that was a big 3 points. Big.
Indeed, mate. Absolutely massive 3 points. Talking of massive, this is what the opposition fans are talking about. He's going to get it, isn't he? I mean, chances he went off. You fat bastard! You fat bastard! He's going to get it all over the country. Let's talk about Victor Gyökeres' debut. Obviously, you know, joined the club midway through the summer window. Didn't really get a full preseason. Joined us while we were out on tour. Played his first game. Scored at the Emirates, obviously in the friendly in the Emirates Cup. What did you make of his sort of 60 minutes? Because the Opta stats are a bit harsh, you know, 4 successful passes in 60 minutes, a 44% accuracy, no shots on goal, no chances created will be what's, sort of recorded in the record books.
It will be, but I think to, to to judge a player, any player, not just Victor Gyökeres. I mean, whoever was playing up top would have struggled. Let's be honest. His movement off the ball was very good, very good. He could have been a lot better. It's difficult when you're not ball dominant and you're not creating chances. It's really difficult for a centre forward to get involved in the game, and I actually feel that's where Kai Havertz, for a game like that, is should be the man of choice, because he drops in, he's an extra body, he works very hard, he's good on the press, Kai, and he just drops in there and allows you to sort of gain a bit more control, a bit deeper, and then you gradually move up the pitch. But when you're playing teams like next week, Leeds at home, you're going to be ball dominant for 90 minutes. Let's see what Gyökeres can do there. Let's see when you've got that one chance or you've got that sharp movement and you're piling crosses in the boxes. That's when you're judging Victor Gyökeres. And honestly, you could pick a million and one things. You could watch a compilation of that. But what I will say, it's so early days for him. It's definitely going to be horses for courses. We've got options stylistically. We've got two very different forwards, and if Gabriel Jesus comes back into the fold as well, there's three very different types of forwards. And mate, Gyökeres will score goals. We know he will score goals. You cannot judge him on that performance yesterday as a whole. You'd be stupid to do so. Yes, all right, he looks a bit chunky. He's a big old boy, but once he starts getting in full steam and he's running channels and smashing into people, he's never been that guy with a back to goal who's going to win headers. He's not that. That's not what you've bought Victor Gyökeres for. He can run channels for days. He can run in behind, short, sharp movements. He's going to be in the box. He's going to get goals. A game like yesterday is just not one that is conducive to his type of play. And it's the same with Zubamendi. Like, he's a controller. When we're completely dominant, you're going to see the best of Martin Zubamendi. When we're completely dominant, I think you're going to see the best of Victor Gyökeres. And I think I'm not concerned. You know, if we got to January and all the home fans were still singing "You fat bastard" to him every week, and he had scored 3 goals, then I'm going to start saying, "Do you know what? We got to question this here." But the guy's hungry, not literally, because he can't eat anymore because he's already a big fat bastard. But what I'm saying is he's going to be there, and I'm not concerned. It's Sesko come on and just got nothing, and he's a top player. So these guys are going to take time to adapt. We've seen it before. We've heard it. Even, I don't know if you've ever seen that interview with Troy Deeney, and as much an idiot he is, he said the first 10 minutes he stepped on the pitch in the Premier League, he said he couldn't believe it. He said he could not believe what he's experiencing. It's different. And I know people say, oh, you say this, but it is different. The Premier League, the physicality, the aggressiveness, the speed, everything about it. So, mate, Gyökeres will settle in. I'm not concerned. And what we do want is a nice home game where we're dominant, 3 or 4 goals. We see him get off the mark in the Premier League, and the confidence will just skyrocket. But honestly, Kai Havertz is hungry. The team are hungry. and we're going to get better and better and better. So look, statistically, it was a rubbish game for him, but like I said, it wasn't conducive to his style of play. It wasn't conducive to any of our attackers. We just weren't great in the final third, and he's one to forget about, but happily move on with a 3 points.
Yeah, listen, I'm not concerned at all. I think when you
Mm.
think about his physical style and playing sort of style and traits, I think he's going to settle right in. But he just needs more than 1, 2 Premier League games. He needs. He didn't get a
Oh,
preseason. He joined training late, and once he gets the chemistry, once the likes of Erdegaard and other creators in the team sort of understand his movements and can kind of almost get those automatisms, I think he's going to fly. And I love the fact that he chucks himself about. I think there's a gif going around of him just sort of walloping De Ligt out of the way, and he got it
yeah,
back, and he doesn't his shoulders don't drop. I love that, and he just wants it again and again and again. It's relentless, and there's a few people that are sort of saying, well, look, Victor Gyökeres is going to be the sort of guy that's going to stat pad against the bottom teams, but that's fine. We've not lost to a big six team in what 2 and a bit years. We're
no.
okay in the big games, and Kai Havertz might be the man for that. But there are going to be teams that we come up against that are not going to want to play this boy, and I can't wait to see it. Let's talk about how we might get the better of him and some of our wide players. Lots of people talking about Martinelli and Saka and Madueke. Let's talk about us in transition. I've got to say, these are images courtesy of The Athletic. Gunnerblog did a fantastic article today, and I couldn't help but sort of nab them. This is a still from the game. 9 minutes in, Martin Odegaard breaking away. We had actually 8 or 9 regains in the game, really high for Arsenal compared to United's 4 or 5. We break away with the ball. You can see Gyökeres darting off, Martinelli darting off, Saka darting off, and the move actually. Sadly, I can't have video because of copyright. But Odegaard carries the ball into the opposition half, fluffs the pass. And we have to get better at moments like this. On that screen, there's a bit too much straight running for my liking. When you watch Liverpool, they sort of zigzag off into different directions like the red arrows, and it's frightening. But we need to improve this because that is the way you're going to get the best out of Gyökeres, but you're also going to reignite, I would say, Martinelli and Saka. What did you make of the wide players' performance, but also talk about, the work that we need to do in terms of transition?
Yeah, absolutely. I thought as attacking unit, I thought we were pathetic, to be honest with you. I thought Saka was pathetic. I thought Martinelli was pathetic. And I thought we just did not click moving forward. And I think where we scored so early, it was almost like everything I spoke about before about dropping points previously. It's almost like, look, okay, if it don't work, it don't work. We never at any stage of that game needed to be dominant and needed to be controlling in the final third. And I think everything is done on a split second. And decision making is poor. It is poor, and it's bravery for me. I mean, we all know that Martin Odegaard, we've watched him, and Mesut Ozil was almost the polar opposite in a sense that he never made the wrong pass. He never, ever, ever made the wrong pass. He was incredible in transition. He was so intelligent. He would always put the ball in the right area, then move off of it. Whereas Odegaard, he can do it, but it's the consistency in it. And he's almost stuck in that bit between, am I a creative midfielder or am I a ball winner? Like he made 8 ball recoveries himself yesterday, Odegaard, and he was sensational in that aspect of the game. But his use of the ball in the right times was poor. But we know he's got it in his locker. And when we've seen Odegaard at his best, he's hitting shots from all distances. He had that obviously one effort yesterday, but he does it consistently. And you watch him, you think, wow, what a player. And you know he's got it in there and his confidence. And I think Declan Rice has to be more aggressive. He has to be more exciting on the ball. Zubimendi, you have to play it. You have to release it. You don't have to get it right every time, but you do have to play the balls. And there was occasions there, like he just doesn't release it. We're just not releasing the ball quick enough. And unfortunately, you know, it works both ways. A pass is only as good as the run, and the run is only as good as the pass. And if you're not, you need the movement off the ball. And like that, I mean, the prime example there, that photo, I mean, Gyökeres' run, it's just look at the space between the defenders
Yeah,
there. You're just
honestly,
crying out.
I'm going to try and use my cursor for you guys watching, but all he has to do is literally just slide it through there
Yeah, straight
into
line.
that
He's not
space,
even. It's just
and
a way to
Erdegaard is
pass in a
onto it.
straight line,
Yeah,
mate.
I know.
And it's what I'm saying there is about the bravery. It's not about lack of ability because we know he can do it. We know he can do it. He's a sensational footballer and he's got all the ability in the world. He just needs to get confident and start playing that. But that's where if you could combine Özil and Odegaard, you've got one of the best players ever to play football in midfield. And it's a shame, but we know Odegaard can play at them levels. And what I would say about the wingers, both of them were very poor. And when they did get the ball out wide in 1v1 situations, they just struggled. They just literally had a bad game, and it does happen. But as an attacking unit, we were quite poor all over the pitch. And as I say, there'll be days where we will be massively dominant. We'll have 30 shots on goal. We're going to have 10, 15 shots on target. We're going to score 4 or 5 goals, and our wingers and our strikers are going to look unbelievable. I wouldn't be concerned. Don't worry about it. Yes, it was a poor performance. Yes, the sub struggled to make an impact in the final third. Yes, we barely created anything, but yes, we won the game. And at this time of the season, just take that.
Yeah, absolutely. It's the start of the season. Like you said at the very start of the show was, this is not the fixture that we would have wanted to have opened the season. We got it. We accept it. We went to Old Trafford, and it's so unpredictable to know how teams are going to come out. It's the opening game. United fans are really up for it. It's been a long summer,
Yeah.
no international football, glorious sunshine in the Manchester sun. Like it would have been a game that they really wanted United to go and leave one in on Arsenal. But we've done it. We've got the job done, and we've come away. And like I said, like many have said in the chat, we've played so well at Old Trafford over the years, and games every now and again. And we've come away battered. So to go there and get the win, it's an ugly win. It's important. You sort of said that Martinelli, and Saka, not their best games. Madueke came on. You weren't impressed with Noni either, but I think, or I hope, or let me ask you the question: is that more down to just how what's the opposite of fluid? just how busy we were, and we
Yeah,
just couldn't do anything. Like we
mate, it's
couldn't
just
get
the
the ball
game
to them.
state. It was the game state. We just
Mm.
could not gain control of the game. And, that's for a number of reasons. But I think partly it was mental. We need, if we play like that against Leeds at home, you're gonna start, we're all craving that complete performance. We're all craving that. Like we want to see it. We know the players have got the ability. We know how frightening we can be. But that just was not the game or the time or the game for it. And ultimately, the reason I was a little bit frustrated with Madueke coming on is because defensively it was very, very poor. And I know that's not his forte, but when you're seeing a game out at Old Trafford, it was almost like Martinelli was so defensively sound and he worked so hard. And there was a couple of occasions where Madueke, he's just stood there and they've just gone past him. And I thought, mate, come on, switch on, switch on, switch on. It's not an observation. In the final third, it's completely irrelevant judging anyone because, as I said, but even at the end of the game, we had opportunities with the transitions. There was one right at the very end. Mikel Merino, we had the whole pitch to play the
Yeah,
ball into, two players there, and he just overhit it.
yeah.
And that for me, it was a lot one of the last kicks of the game, but that summed up our attacking performance. And as I said, that's not the game to worry about that. If we play like that against Leeds and we struggle and we win 1-0, people are going to rightly start saying, "Do you know what, we need to see a bit more here. We've spent all this money, we've got all these attacking players, but I don't think we will perform like that." And I just don't see it happening. And I think I can understand people's frustrations and maybe criticisms of the game, but I think you've got to look at the way bigger picture. Understand it's week one. We've got a huge season ahead of us. We're going to play many big, big games. We're starting off with tough fixtures, and you had to go to Old Trafford and come away with 3 points because you got Anfield coming up, you got St James's Park coming up. You just needed three on the board and move on to Leeds, and hopefully then you're going to see a performance and a bit more from our attackers.
And a few days at London Colney, improving on that match sharpness, getting that
Yeah,
fitness back. And I think we're going to be absolutely fine. Look, that's been fantastic. Really appreciate it. For those of you that are tuning in, not being able to enjoy the stream tonight, there is a server issue with YouTube. Streams across Europe have been badly affected. So do come back. If I go back and check later on, it's not there, I'll re-upload it as a video because it's been really good fun. If anybody wants to follow Woz, he's available at North Bank Woz. Obviously going to be ever present on the Latte firm this season, ever present at the Emirates as well, and home and away. Gets all the games in. For those of you watching, those of you that are channel members, thank you so much for your support. Patreon members, there is an audience with Mikel Arteta at the Londoner Hotel in just a couple of weeks' time. I have a couple of tickets to give away to one of our lucky Patreon members to be my guest on the night, to listen to Mikel talk about leadership and his career and some of the challenges that he's faced. That would be fantastic. If you guys want to enter that, then you can go over to patreon.com/lattefirm and sign up to a member. Those of you who are members are automatically in the hat. All that I have to say, 1-0 at Old Trafford. Fantastic. Fantastic. Do you remember that? Do you remember that? Bringing back
Of
the
course, I
old
remember
days.
that.
Look after yourselves. We'll be back tomorrow with Pythagorean boots to take a deeper dive into some of the tactical stuff that Arteta's been doing. Take care. Sleep well. Enjoy Monday Night Football. Bye for now.